Well, it's 6:05 a.m. Good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Noella Kareniali. And we begin with our top story. And the NDC's Bernard Bediako has defeated the NPP's Solomon Asumadu by more than 2,000 votes to win the keenly contested Akwatia by-election. Now, his win brings the total number of NDC MPs to 184, giving the government a supermajority in Parliament. Now, the NPP had hoped it could retain the seat following the sudden demise of their departed MP, Ernest Kumi, and the following report has more.
Solomon Asumadu had 15,235 votes. Bernard Bediako Bedu of NDC had 18,199. I, Eric Osujemfi, the returning officer of Akwatia constituency, declare Bernard Bediako Bedu MP-elect for Akwatia constituency.
That was the Electoral Commission's returning officer for the Akwatia by-election, declaring the results of that particular poll. The governing National Democratic Congress, NDC, has secured a supermajority in Parliament with a decisive victory in Akwatia. The party's candidate, Bernard Bediako, won the hotly contested election with 18,199 votes, defeating the NPP Solomon Asumadu, who polled 15,235. Bernard Bediako thanked supporters after his overwhelming victory.
I told you guys that we've been in this game for a while. If you are in it and you are losing, you will know, except maybe if you don't want to be honest to yourself. I told you what we were working out at that moment I spoke to was with regards to the gap. But as for the win, what are we witnessing? We've won. We are grateful for the opportunity the people of Akwatia has given us. It is a clear mandate, and we would not take it for granted. We will make sure we give them the best of representation and serve them well.
Supporters of the NDC's candidate hit the streets in jubilant mode after he was officially declared winner.
Now, lawyer, also go see a lawyer. About to echo fampa. The manager bebre say I didn't kunim. Now, ready, I can't want boy. I didn't know anyajma.
Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC, Tanko Rashid Computer, had this to say after the win.
We told you that we are going to get 54%. More than that, that was projected. The projection was 53, but we finally got 54 plus. And you can look at the difference. As projected, there's no difference between our own coalition and that of the EC coalition. The same, it came to the same, no difference. That tells you that we are on top of issues, and you saw what happened. We have worked for it. We have a credible candidate, and we have good message, and the people bought our message. And so we are not surprised. People thought we were just binding figures around, but the figures actually show that we worked according to the figures that was given.
The exercise was relatively peaceful, with pockets of misunderstandings recorded at some polling stations. The Ghana Police Service deployed more than 5,000 personnel to man the elections in Akwatia. The defeat leaves the MPP with 87 MPs as opposed to the NDC's 184.
Now, moving on, President John Mahama has directed the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, together with the Lands Commission, to immediately conduct a comprehensive audit of all state lands allocated, leased or sold, particularly between 2017 and 2024. Now, speaking during the inauguration of the reconstituted National Lands Commission, the president said where illegality or impropriety is uncovered, such transactions will be reversed and the lands recovered for the state in accordance with the law. He added that the sale of the State Lands Committee has already begun its work and is expected to submit its findings soon.
I've directed the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Lands Commission to immediately undertake a comprehensive audit of all state lands allocated, leased, or sold, particularly between 2017 and 2024. This audit will cover lands acquired for schools, hospitals, and public institutions, forests and ecological zones unlawfully converted to private use, any transaction tainted by conflict of interest, abuse of power, or political patronage. Where illegality or impropriety is discovered, such transactions will be reversed, and the land will be recovered to government by law. We're not on a witch hunt. Those who have legally acquired land through proper processes need not fear. This exercise is about fairness and justice. The Sale of State Lands Committee has begun its work and will soon submit its findings. That report will serve as a blueprint for rethinking the management, allocation, and protection of state lands. To transform land administration, we must move from paper platform bureaucracy to speed and digitization. The Lands Commission is being tasked to digitize all land records nationwide, building on the Enterprise Land Information System. To integrate services across registries, valuation, and survey departments. And three, very important, to introduce blockchain technology to prevent tampering with land data. And four, to decentralize operations by establishing functional land offices in all the 261 metropolitan and municipal and district assemblies. Over 300 qualified young professionals will be recruited and deployed to support this decentralization effort. These district offices will become the front line of citizen-friendly land service delivery. Our goal is clear. No land document should take more than 30 working days to process, and no Ghanaian should have to pay bribes or know someone at the top to be able to register their land. Corruption within the Lands Commission will no longer be tolerated or treated indifferently.
Well, the president also announced the lifting of the temporary ban on state lands transactions. He explained that going forward, all allocations, leases, or sales of state lands must strictly adhere to transparent processes, digital verification systems, and effective oversight mechanisms.
In pursuit of this reform agenda, my government placed a temporary ban on all state land transactions to enable a thorough review of existing processes. That exercise has yielded valuable insights into the weaknesses of our current system and the urgent reforms that are required. So today, with the inauguration of the new commission and the adoption of robust accountability measures, I'm pleased to announce that the ban on land transactions has been lifted. Henceforth, all land transactions, allocation, lease, or sale must strictly comply with transparent processes, digital verification, and oversight mechanisms. The lifting of this ban must not signal a return to business as usual. It is a signal that a new disciplined era of land management has begun. And that is why we are embarking on a bold reset, an agenda that is rooted in 4 pillars. The first being to restore public confidence in land administration through transparency, fairness, and justice. 2, to reverse illegal land transactions, reclaiming encroached lands, and protecting public assets. 3, digitizing, modernizing, and decentralizing land services to ensure access and efficiency. And 4, harmonizing customary and statutory land systems to promote equity and coherence.
Now, they call it the Tree of Life, once feeding families, healing the sick and nurturing generations. But in Minduri in Ghana's Upper East, the mighty baobab is withering. In Bansi and beyond, shifting skies and a changing climate are stripping strength from a tree that once held whole communities together. On Climate Focus today, Joy News' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin tells the story of fading roots, broken livelihoods, and a race against time to save the Tree of Life.
Across the savannas of northern Ghana, the baobab tree towers like an ancient guardian, but today these giants are in distress. In Binduri, especially in the Bansik community, farmers are seeing the trees slowly die and are no longer producing fruits.
When I moved into this house, the flourishing baobab tree was a valuable resource for us. We would harvest its leaves to make nutritious soups. However, over the past 3 years, the tree has struggled with poor fruit production. To make matters worse, whenever it does produce fruit, pests seem to appear, further diminishing its yield. This decline has been concerning, and finding a solution to restore the tree's health and productivity has become a priority.
Baobab leaves are an important part of meals in northern Ghana. The fruit is full of vitamin C, but now some baobab trees have stopped growing leaves.
Yeah, so economically, we will harvest the fruit and sell. People buy the fruit and prepare local drinks. Some too use it as because it's because of the sour nature of it. Some people use it to prepare teas. Others also use it to mix with flour to prepare porridge. So people used to buy, we harvest the fruit and they'll buy it. And also the leaves. The leaves also is nutritious. And so people buy it and prepare soup. So we used to sell at least, if it is up to that time, we'll get money out of it. We'll make money. We used to make money out of it. And it was a huge tree. So it could have the fruit more than 500. And so if you harvest, in fact, you make money.
Experts say there are many reasons. The weather keeps changing and windstorms happen without warning. Trees that lived for hundreds of years are now falling because they can't fight these problems. Some farmers are asking for help. They want research and protection for one of Africa's most important natural resources. Unless urgent action is taken to steady, restore and protect, the tree of life may become a tree of the past. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, moving on, the president of the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana, Engineer Henry Kojo Boateng, has warned government against the lack of project management and planning and implementing projects in Ghana. Now, he observed that the country's firefighting approach to planning and implementation has resulted in numerous abandoned projects across the country. Speaking at the 3rd International Project Management Bootcamp at the University of Cape Coast, Engineer Boateng called for urgent reforms to avoid wasting taxpayers' money. Abigail Isel Nkrumah has more on this report.
The 3rd International Project Management Bootcamp held at the University of Cape Coast was on a theme, turning plans in progress, rethinking projects' delivery of national impact. The bootcamp focused on the planning and execution stages of projects and government's role in these processes. According to Engineer Henry Kojo Boateng, the president of the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana, the country's engagement in project management is minimal.
Basically, I can say in Ghana we don't do project management. We do the firefighting approach. If you look at the projects that goes on into the country, most of these projects are not properly managed, and we have a lot of abandoned projects. Yes, so we have group to rethink and come out with a communique and advise the government the way forward to avoid this wastage of taxpayers' money.
The host of the bootcamp, Engineer Dr. Jamran Kuma Ebenezer, lamented the consequences of illegal mining, sharing that there are alternatives to the illegal activity.
We have realized that Galamsey started way back, 1950s, way back, and fighting has been like soldiers, burning of what do you call it, excavators, doing this, and still all going on. Galamsey is there. It is causing evil. at the same time, Galamsey is there. It is giving people money. It is giving people livelihood. It is giving people wealth. But how can we manage it in such a way that at the end of the day, it will be something that will not be encouraged at all? But all those who are involving themselves in the Galamsey can also have opportunity to do the right mining. So that is why we are organizing this bootcamp, to find out the alternative means for Galamsey and other project delivery in Ghana. So we are rethinking to have an alternative way. That is systematic project management.
Former Vice Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, Reverend Professor Joshua Owusu-Sechere, highlighted the essence of project management.
Financiers should not embark on any projects that they cannot complete. I think that's the bottom line. Even on this campus, you will find some projects which have been initiated and we can't complete them. Let's wake up out of our slumber. It doesn't help anybody at all.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lisol Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
And now, a new baseline study conducted by the Center for Democratic Development has uncovered a worrying trend in Ghana's northern regions, where about 70% of community members do not have access to critical productive assets like land, livestock, and farming equipment. The situation is most dire in the Upper East region, where over 99% of individuals face the shortage, with full-beat women and youth particularly at risk due to limited land ownership and financial independence, while the Upper West regions show 93.38%. Now, contributing factors include climate change, youth unemployment, and resource scarcity. Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
CDD Ghana, in collaboration with Caro Ghana, with funding by the Global Community Engagement and Resilience Fund, is implementing a 2-year project dubbed Bridging the Gap, Promotion of Socio-Economic Livelihood, Social Cohesion, and Peace Building in Vulnerable Communities. In line with the project, the Upper West Regional Dialogue Session was held in the Wa municipality to discuss a baseline survey conducted by CDD Ghana. Program Officer at CDD Ghana, Eric Doe, presented the baseline survey, revealing that 70% of community members in the northern sector of Ghana lack access to productive assets.
From the baseline survey, we realized that out of every 10, there are 7 people who don't have access to productive assets. When we refer to productive assets from our baseline, it refers to land, farming tools, and livestock. There were also disparities in terms of limited access to essential productive assets.
Executive Director of Caro Ghana, a non-governmental organization based in the Upper West region, and implementers of the project, Freeman Canton, further to light about the project.
And today's survey dissemination meeting is supposed to desensitize, is supposed to provide information to regional stakeholders as leaders in public service delivery in the region, to act as ambassadors at the district level to ensure that young people participate or have access to public services in order to improve the trust that exists between community members and public service providers.
Freeman Canton also highlighted a worrying trend of 13% of young people having the impression that using violent means is acceptable to resolve conflicts.
The survey identified that about 13%, 10 to 24% of young people have the impression or agreed that they would resort to violence to resolve conflicts.
Upper West Regional Minister, Lawyer Charles Wong Opozung, represented by the Chief Director of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Haji Fati Sakokure, noted that the baseline survey is timely as it provides them with a guide in their decision making.
But more importantly, this dialogue creates space for us to think together, share experiences, and shape strategies that are practical and responsive to the realities on the ground. This is the kind of participatory approach that builds trust and strengthens the bond between citizens and the state.
The survey was conducted in Wa, Lora, and Nando municipalities and Lamuzio districts. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Let's do some business updates now. And the country has made significant progress in putting in place laws to check money laundering and terrorist financing. That's according to the 2024 National Risk Assessment Report that assesses Ghana's performances in those areas. And here's more in a report.
The report also revealed that the country has taken some bold steps to also prosecute persons that were found to be engaging in those practices. Also, in the area of terrorist financing, the country rate was low due to the fact that there are no terrorist groups identified to be operating in Ghana. Additionally, government has also put in place robust measures to safeguard their jurisdiction from being used to raise, move or store funds for terrorism purposes. Despite this progress, the report emphasized the need for enhanced coordination between government agencies to address what it describes as emerging risk. However, the report was worried about the lack of regulation in the real estate sector, as well as timely access to reliable beneficial ownership of assets, which exposes the country to some of these threats. On the other hand, fraud, tax offences and drug trafficking have been identified as the major offences confronting the country.
Well, that's it for the business news. I'm Noella Karaniali. Sports is up next.